Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us once again today as we explore the second home or the vacation home market. And on the past few months, this has been a very, very hot topic. Many agents all over the world are reporting a sharp increase in vacation home purchases, as many of us are learning how to work from home and having that home be anywhere in the world. So we're realizing that the idea of purchasing a second home or vacation home does not need to wait for retirement. Really, the time is now to love where you live. So if you are fortunate enough to already have a vacation home, it's likely where you spent some time over the past few months as we've been quarantined. And a vacation home is very often, a dream for many people. So if you don't have one of those, I suspect you've had a discussion or two these past few months as to where that home might be. And perhaps you've even rented a home away in these past few months to kind of try out this idea. So the topic is very, very timely. I am excited for today's discussion because we are highlighting the opportunities in Colorado. And before this call started, they were all talking about the beautiful weather. It's 100 degrees here in Austin, Texas, and they are saying that they're cold in the morning. So I was quite jealous. So for us Texans, as well as a lot of Californians and people from the Western states, we've long adored Colorado as an escape. And I want to share this gem with every one of our followers here, from the river canyons to the arid deserts and the snow-covered Rocky Mountains. Colorado is truly magical. So over the next 45 minutes we have together, we're going to share with you why Colorado is the right place to build those magical memories. So let me introduce to you our three experts that are going to be participating with us today. First, we have Jennifer Chambers, who is here from Breckenridge, the base of the Rockies. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello.
And then we also have the debonair Michael Ralph from Vail, Beaver Creek area, so within the White River National Forest. Hello, Michael.
Nice to see everybody.
And then representing beautiful Crested Butte, thank you so much for joining us, Dawn.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Good. I'm so excited to see you guys, even though it is on a screen. It's nice. I feel like I'm on a mini vacation when I do these. So thank you for giving us some of your time. It's very generous of you. So for the viewing audience, I'm just going to give you a layout of what we're going to be covering, our format. And we're going to have a series of questions and answers with each of our experts. They'll kind of take turns giving their input on some of the questions that I pose. And then at the end of the talk today, they're going to share, this is always the fun part, they're going to share some of the properties in each of their beautiful cities. I think we do have the ability to pose some questions, and if we have enough time, we'll get to those. Certainly, we'll try to do that, but really I'm encouraging you, if you have questions, reach out to Dawn and Michael and Jennifer offline so they can really give you the attention that you deserve to get these questions answered in a meaningful way. Fair enough. And we'll have their contact information for you. We'll post that. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about all things Colorado. So tell me, each one of these places is a little bit different. Obviously, there's some similarities, but why don't we share what is so interesting about your area and why people are drawn to it? And let's start with Dawn.
Ah, shoot, you're starting with me. Okay. So Crested Butte, we're off the beaten path a little bit. I would say we're the farthest away from Denver than any of the other resorts.
And how far is that?
As far as drive time, it takes about 4 hours.
Okay, got it.
But what we're finding, though, is that people are willing, especially these last 5 years, people are willing to do a little bit longer of a drive to have shorter lift lines. They don't need reservations for most of our restaurants. We don't have the crowds because it's more of a destination. So people come, they come for a week, not so much the weekends, although we do get a little busier on the weekends. But as far as our little town goes, it's Here's an example. I was riding the chairlift with my daughter a few years ago, and I looked down and she had duct tape on her ski pants. And I said, oh, what's up with the duct tape? And she's like, oh, I had a rip. And I was like, okay, I'm good. And then I didn't talk to her anymore about it. But inside I thought to myself, I said, how great. She grew up in this town. She didn't care about getting new ski pants. She just wants to go play. She wants to get on the lift. She wants to ride the lift. And that's the atmosphere here. And I'm sure it's in the other resorts too. But people who live here, who visit here, we just want to play. We want to get out in the outdoors. We appreciate the outdoors. We have 750 miles of single track. So even though I've been here 25 years, I still haven't been on all the trails. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, I love it. It's a beautiful, easy town. Fun to be. We have more parades, and we have as adults, we have more costumes that we dress up and for, events around town. It's just a fun, funky, laid back town.
Fun, funky, and laid back. I like all three of those things. What about you, Michael? What can you share about your area?
We're probably a little more of the polished end of some of the Colorado ski towns.
No duct tape on pants?
No duct tape, that somebody's going to look and think they should get new pants or get that fixed or something. It's an incredible place to be. I chose Vail as home nearly 20 years ago, and I checked out some of the other ski resorts at the time. It was because it felt like the most welcoming of those that I checked out. And I came out here to teach skiing, so I was checking out the ski schools, and I was just welcomed in. Hey, let's grab a beer. Let me tell you about town. And I still find that out of a lot of our population, whether they're second homeowners sharing their second home community, or whether they're primary residents. But we've got the world-class resorts in Vail and Beaver Creek, and those I don't think I need to go into too much depth on it. If there's skiers out there, then they know of the Vails and Beaver Creeks in the world. And the expression that we have is that people come for the winter and they stay for the summer.
Yes.
And that's probably used, I see Jennifer nodding and Dawn as well. And I think that's throughout Colorado, but I don't know that those that haven't been for a Colorado summer realize what else we have. We've got the skiing and the snowmobiling, and I think there's even dog sledding. I've yet to do that yet. And then in the summer, we've got the golfing and the tennis, which you can find at the beach or in the mountains. And so what keeps us unique is where kind of Dawn was headed, and we've got it here as well. The hiking, the biking, whether it's road or mountain, the fly fishing. I can't remember, there's 600 and some odd miles of gold medal water in Colorado, and one of those miles stretches right through Vail Village. So somebody could come out and stay in their hotel or their condo and walk out the back door down the street 1 minute and be in gold medal water. Rafting, stand-up paddleboarding's gotten to be really popular, four-wheeling. And so the way I describe it is we have everything that you can imagine that you would do outside, with the exception of something that requires an ocean or a really large lake. I mean, but otherwise, if you can imagine that you would do it anywhere outdoors, we've got it here. And then being Vail, it was established in the 60s, and so it's got some depth to it. And so the resort itself has been, over the last 10 years, really trying to round out what would draw people in outside of just nature. They're looking at, and they've already developed a huge music festival and dance festival. I mean, we've got the Dallas Symphony comes out. Well, aside from this year, they've been out here every year for the last 7 or 8 years at least. New York Philharmonic, and then it rolls into the dance festival with the New York Ballets and other dancers from around the globe coming in, and we have arts and culinary. And so if you can't find something to do here, then you're just not even looking.
Yeah.
What would you add on to that, Jennifer, regarding Breckenridge?
Well, between the three of us, I would say that Breckenridge is somewhere in between. Overall, it's a very laid back vibe with a little polish on top. So we have something for everybody here. And the uniqueness of Breck is that this is a town that was established in the late 1800s, like 1868, I want to say. And so we have the largest historic area in all of Colorado. So it has a lot of that charm that people are looking for when they come to a mountain town like this. Also, we offer all the things that everyone else has talked about in terms of the skiing, the hiking, the biking, and all that amazing stuff. And in addition, we do have a lake. Now, it's not truly a lake, it's a reservoir. So you can do just about anything in it. However, you're not allowed to water ski. So this reservoir is the source of water for Denver. So some activities are limited. However, there's sailing, boating, paddle boarding. You can rent anything at the marina for when you visit. There's a cute restaurant, bar right on the marina. So in the summer times, it's a very busy place. And we have a beach. It's nothing like a beach at the ocean, but it's a mountain beach. And it's a really big deal for the area because it's the only one like it. So we have a little bit of that as well. And as far as people coming here, we have people mostly domestic coming here. We don't have as many international travelers as Vail will. But the interesting thing is we have a large population of people who buy here who don't live in Colorado.
Well, that plays right into my next question because I wanted to talk to each one of you about your feeder markets, number one, but also, what portion of the buyers that are coming into your market are from out of town? Who is really coming in and using it as a part-time home? And I hesitate to even say second home very much anymore because what I'm finding is people are dividing things up equally. There really isn't a primary home. They really are moving from place to place, in some type of equal amount of time. So it's just an additional home. So that of your people that don't live there full time, let's just say, I'm curious to know what that is like, where they're coming from. And then we're going to move from that question into the ability for people to monetize that if, for example, they want to do some short-term rentals. So, but let's start with feeder markets and where these people are coming from.
Mm-hmm. Who do you want to start?
How about Dawn?
Feeder markets. I used to have actually about 90% of my clients all come from the South, Texas, Oklahoma, maybe a little from Louisiana. But in the last, I'd say 5 years, since Denver has been, that city has gotten crazy with, population, I would say 50% of my clients are now from Denver, Boulder, or someone in the Front Range. So I would say 50% still have from the South, Texas, Oklahoma, and then probably 50% from the Denver area, because they're finding that, I-70 corridor is not all that fun anymore. And so they'd rather just, even though it's technically a longer drive, we don't have the traffic. So anyway, so that's where our feeder markers are from. What was the second part of that question?
Well, I'm just curious, the people that are coming in are they using these properties as vacation rentals, or is there a market for that? Because I'm finding most people are trying to be smart with their money. They want to figure out if they can use this as a personal residence, so they still have benefits of property tax deduction and mortgage interest. They have a loan on it, of course, but also mitigating that cost. So they're monetizing in a way not just based off of appreciation, but they're actually getting some money to cover their expenses as they go.
Absolutely. That, and I would say again, at least 80 to almost 90% of my clients, when they buy a second home here, they absolutely do want to rent it out. They see the value in, I can get 10,000 in income over the Christmas holiday. Why don't we rent it? We'll get that 10,000 income and take a free vacation to, Italy or something, So they absolutely do rent it out and take advantage of the income. In fact, one of the homes I'm going to showcase at the end, they receive about 120,000 of income per year on their property. So it's significant and it's worthwhile for them. Absolutely.
Yeah, when we get to those properties, if you do know that information, I think it would be helpful for people to see how far, what something is going to buy you, but also what you might be getting in return. So thank you for bringing that up. Now, you said something a minute ago. Well, actually, 3 different times you all have said kind of a term, and I'm not a Coloradan, so I don't know. But so you said Front Range. Is that Denver? Or is that
Sorry.
Yeah. So it's anything on the other side of the Continental Divide for us. The east side of the Continental Divide. So Boulder, Fort Collins, down to Colorado Springs, Denver, Evergreen, anywhere lower, much lower.
Front
and
of
then I
the
think
Rocky
Michael
Mountain
said
Yeah.
gold medal water, and I'm just assuming that's good.
Yeah, it's from a fishing perspective. There's thousands of miles of river and stream in the state. 600 of that is deemed gold medal. I can't actually tell you who decided it was gold medal or not, but it's a good thing.
And somebody said 750 miles of single track.
That was me.
What does that mean?
Single track is
I need a key.
Glossary.
I know, you forget sometimes.
single track is it's just a trail that you can either hike or bike on, or a horseback ride on as well. But it's not like a Jeep trail. You couldn't take a 4-wheel drive vehicle. It's a single track, means it's just one track. So it's for hiking, biking, and horseback.
Snowshoe. You can do.
Oh, fun. You guys, I'm learning so much already here. Okay, so let's ask Jennifer and then Michael again about in your area, your feeder markets, where are these people coming from and are they renting out?
Yeah, so my feeder markets are very distinct. This is in the whole entire county of Summit, which also includes Keystone, Copper Mountain, and some other areas. But our overall picture for 2020 for people who are transacting here, 27% are local. And then the remainder is not. We have almost 50% in the Front Range, 45%, and we have about 30% coming from out of state. And of that 30%, 25% is from Texas. So that's our biggest out of state market by a long shot. So as far as renting, most people who do buy here want the flexibility of being able to rent, which we have a very strong market, similar to Vail, I would think, because I know Vail and Breckenridge ski resorts kind of flip-flop between the 2 most visited ski resorts in North America, which is pretty incredible. So we have a lot of opportunity for rental income here. And but we do have a lot of buyers, owners who do not want to rent at all because they don't want people in their home.
Sure.
Yeah, so it just depends on the buyer and the owner here for us.
Michael?
Yeah, so similar to Breckenridge, our top feeder markets are going to come out of the Front Range, meaning the Denver area. And that even that group of folks has changed dramatically, though. As Denver has grown, most of those are not native Coloradans. They're people that have moved to Denver, and we're finding that business growth, job has pulled people into Denver.
Same here.
And yeah, and it's a lifestyle thing. They may be selling their one large home in pick your city, Silicon Valley, if it was a tech company that moved, and they're looking and they're saying Denver's, the company moved, they like their job, Denver's great, but the real lifestyle choice of Colorado is to be in the mountains. So they'll buy a slightly smaller home in Denver and then buy their second home in the mountains. So clearly we have that. And then following that, same as Breckenridge, Texas is our biggest feeder market, specifically Houston, Dallas, and then Austin trails in third there. And then we also have a percentage, not 1%, but a notable percentage that comes out of Chicago and Minneapolis. As you break up Eagle County, that's where Vail and Beaver Creek sit. Those folks that are coming and buying their second home as a condo because of the winter, we see a lot of those from the New York City, Jersey, and Connecticut. But those that are coming out and spending more, like Jeanette, you were saying, splitting their time, really having it be a home and not just a vacation spot. Those are the ones that are coming from Texas. Like I said, a smattering from Chicago, some from Minneapolis. And then we also get a fair number right in Edwards, which is where my office sits, 10 minutes outside of Vail. We get quite a few coming consistently from Phoenix and Scottsdale, and then the bigger cities in Florida. So I think those are folks, I don't think I know, those are folks that have retired. They retired to their Arizona or Florida home, spent one summer there and thought, the heck with this. Where can I go for the summer? You know, they were the snowbirds that got away from the cold, but then they needed to come back this way to a little bit drier climate.
Well, you know, when I think of Colorado, I think of snow, but actually, and you know, actually there's so much other things to do the rest of the year. So let's talk a little bit about seasonality, because I know for a lot of my clients who are thinking about purchasing another property, they do want to kind of go and give it a, you know, test run first. So if people are thinking about Colorado, do you recommend they come at a particular time of the year, or try out both time? You know, you have a lifestyle during the snowy months, and then a lifestyle when it's not snowy. I mean, what is your recommendation if you are advising someone before they make this purchase? What are the things that they need to know?
I think that they should come out twice. I think it's important to know what the summer is like, because a lot of people just assume it snows here, which it does most of the time. However, we have a very busy summer season and summer activities that are available for everybody. So I think you want to see both. And then also, I think there's another layer to that. I think it's important for people to see how they do at altitude. So Breckenridge tends to see a little more of this because it's at 9,600 feet, but people do have effects related to the elevation. So it's good to know how you're going to feel here as well.
That's a very good point. Very good point.
We're anywhere from 7,000 feet above sea level up to 9 for most of the homes, but most of our real estate and our homes are on the valley floor. So we're between 7 and 8, which makes a difference. I mean, Denver's at 5,000 plus, 5,200. And I would say the same thing. You come out in the summer, you've probably already been here in the winter if you're considering Colorado. Mm-hmm. And you'd asked about the returns. We can find about 1 to 3% on a cash return of somebody that's purchased, but only 30% of that rental income comes out of the summer months. So our more expensive time of year is our destination. Our vacationers are out here in the winter, and our resident, whether they're primary or second home, vacation home, they spend, I mean, we get a big influx in June, and then they head back out of town in October. And so I would come out, you know, August, September.
I think I agree. Summer, it's just so amazing. I mean, we're considered the wildflower capital, and you know, you get on some of these trails and, you know, I've almost shed a tear. Like, you get up and you're like, oh my gosh, as far as the eye can see, there's flowers everywhere. And I've never seen that anywhere in the world before, except for getting up on these trails. And the other thing about the trails is, you know, like I said earlier, we have 750 miles of single track. So I can go out on a Saturday morning and take a 2-3 hour run, and I may not see anybody. It might be just my dog and I. And so there's something, you know, really about a little bit of the solitude about getting into the mountains that you can't really, in the wintertime, you know, you're on the ski trail, but you're with a lot of people. This summer, you can take your family hiking and get away from it all. Some of my favorite date nights with my husband is grabbing a blanket and a bottle of wine, and honestly going on a trail and finding a place by the river or somewhere. And I know I won't see anybody or very few people, and we'll hang out and, you know, like have a happy hour. So you don't get that in the winter. And there's very few places in the world where you can have that experience except in the mountains of Colorado. So I absolutely think you should come in the summertime. And I like July's a really amazing month for flowers.
Yeah.
Or August tends to get a little dry and sometimes they're not as spectacular. And then September, the leaves are amazing. They're all golden. They're not a lot of the reds that you see on the East Coast, but the leaves are pretty amazing in September.
Dawn, you just did an incredible job painting a
Yes,
beautiful. I feel like I was there. That's amazing.
that's what I thought. She was so great.
Yes, I'm
I love it. It's
plain.
beautiful.
So if you were visiting or talking with someone who's thinking about coming, what I'm hearing from all three of you is try out the spring. Maybe it's underrated. People are going to Colorado to ski, but there's so much to do. Talk a little bit more about the lifestyle, because I'll tell you the other thing that keeps coming up on my radar is multi-generational travel. You've
Mm-hmm.
got your children, but you're bringing the parents or the
Yes.
you have people of a variety of ages, and God bless them if they're still able to ski or, hike, 2 or 3 or 4 hours in their 60s, 70s, 80s. But when you've got little bitty ones and 80-year-olds, what is it about your areas that really is appealing and making it possible for this multi-generational travel? How about you, Jennifer?
We're fortunate here because that's a lot of what our owners are. They are multi-generational owners. So they buy a home so that their children and grandchildren can be here. So we have a wide range of people who love Colorado and love being here in Breckenridge. Number one, you don't have to ski. I know the people on this call already know I don't ski.
I don't ski.
Don't hold it against me. Yet there's still plenty to
I don't go
do.
ski.
Yeah, I know you don't ski at
The
all.
last time we were all in Colorado together, right?
Uh-huh.
All 4 of us was the winter, and Michael skied like 12 hours a day, I think.
Yes, I think so. But yeah, so, for people who are either older or younger and may not be on the slopes, actually young kids can get on the slopes. We have great ski schools here. I know Vail has a great ski school, Beaver Creek. I know all the resorts in Colorado have great ski schools. So there's lots of opportunity there. And you can also get them into a group lesson so that the parents can get some time to ski alone and then pick up their child at the end of the day, which is really nice. As far as things that aren't skiing, a lot of people who are here who are older are very, very fit. And they are hiking, they are biking, they are snowshoeing. These are people who are wanting to be in the outdoors. So everything else here, and some of them really actually still ski, even in their 70s. So there's something for everybody here. And also we have, like Michael, and I'm sure Dawn as well, we have the orchestra here. We have a music festival. We have a film festival. We have an arts district. We have other things going on besides being on the mountain.
And they're not just, I'll put it this way, they're the names you would recognize. Last year, I drove over to Summit County to go see Clint Black live. And it was a beautiful, an incredible venue sitting right there with the lake as a backdrop, and the amphitheater was amazing. And so we've got all that. And I think that the thing that is amazing is these towns, they're set up for it. They know that they're catering to a multi-generational visit, whether they're a visit for 6 months or whether they're a visit for 6 days. Many of the homes are set up with a main level master and then a secondary bedroom there and another wing. So if you do have 2 or 3 generations, you can be together as a family, yet you can also have your separation to give grandma and grandpa a little more quiet time, or give mom and dad quiet time while you send the kids off with grandma and grandpa. The restaurants cater to it. I mean, you walk into a restaurant, the average table size is probably 6. It's not 2 or 4. The taxis here or Ubers are mostly minivans and Suburbans. And so they're anticipating that you're coming out with 3 generations. I've seen 4 generations out here before as well, which is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
the transportation, the in-town buses that we have, the shuttles, and then the activities. I mean, Jennifer already touched on it. The ski schools, the restaurants that are on the mountain. It's pretty common, the groups go, they split up, the advanced skiers go this way, the beginners, the younger are over here, those that don't ski, and then they come back together for lunch. Or if they're on a fishing expedition in the summer or rafting,
Right.
it's a place to make memories.
And the music, I think we need to touch even more on the music, because the first time I've seen an opera was in Crested Butte. I mean, we have ballets that come in, we have phenomenal music. And I think because in mountain towns, you have a lot of second homeowners that are really passionate about supporting the arts.
Yes.
And so our music venues are amazing. We have tons of fundraising. We have country in the Rockies, they come. There's just amazing nightlife, and there's concerts out in the park. So the music, so it's not all just, on trails and biking and hiking. There's so many great places to see music, and even just, it's so quaint. Like we have a historic town too. It's, like 5 blocks long, our main street. And I have right outside my window, there's a creek that runs through town. And so sometimes the simple act of just walking through town is perfect. And someone who's older who can't be real active, that's a perfect activity. Stop for lunch and stroll, because it's not too hot. And it's still fun, and it's quaint, and there's not a lot of cars. A lot of people just bike or walk.
Yeah, I fell asleep to my first ballet here.
So we've all fallen in love, but let's talk about money. So let's talk about the numbers, because everybody, is asking the same questions. How much have your areas appreciated over the last few years? And think of, I know a lot of people who are saying, I don't want to wait until I'm about to retire or I'm slowing down to buy something. I want to buy it now so I can ride the appreciation, monetize it in some way through a rental, use it to make magical memories with friends and family. And then when I am able to maybe spend 30% of my time there, I've already purchased it and I'm not buying in at that price. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about appreciation. And I think it's also, if you can even answer this, give us an example of maybe, no names, of course, but a client who purchased, I don't know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever comes to mind, and like what that property is worth now, separate from renting it out, but just for the people who don't want to do that, like what can they see as a return on the investment that they're making, and what is that rate of appreciation? Who wants to go first?
I can go first. We've had really strong appreciation here for many decades. So I did the math a little bit. So over 32 years, our appreciation is averaging 7%. If you look at the last 5 years, we've seen a 30% increase in the average price of a single family home. And we've seen a 35% increase in our multifamily homes, meaning condos, townhomes, duplexes. As far as a specific example, I can give my own example. My family, we sold a house in the end of 2009, we closed, and that home just sold for $1 million. So there's a lot of opportunity if you can hold on to a property to make a lot of money simply on appreciation.
And so the property that just sold for $1 million, what did you purchase it for in 2009?
They purchased it for $480,000.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's healthy. Great. And again, just for people that are watching, that is only the appreciation. That's if you have not rented it out and not used it. Like you've parked some money someplace instead of the stock market where you don't have any control. You don't get to use whatever stock it is that you purchased. And obviously I'm not a financial planner, but I do understand and appreciate diversification. So you can put your money someplace in Crested Butte still get to use it, ride the appreciation, and possibly rent it out as well. What about you, Dawn? Do you have an example or any percentages you can share with us?
I do have, I have a couple examples, and I'm similar to Jennifer as far as what we're seeing. So I had a client buy a house 2014, 6 years ago, for 608, a single family house on the mountain. Just closed it at 1.2.
Yeah.
So that was actually a pretty big one. Another example is I have a client bought 2 years ago for 689, single family home. We just went under contract at 855, and that was just in 2 years.
Yep.
So one thing though, I did want to give some tips though, because even though we have those examples, I do have examples where they haven't made as much.
Mm-hmm.
And what you really have to look for, and what I tell my clients is, when you look for the resale value, you buy a home that has the most appeal to the masses. You know what I mean? Don't do something that's maybe really hard to get to, because that's going to limit your buyer pool and hence your resale value. So, definitely talk to your agent, whatever town you're in, and make sure they really understand that resale value, because those two examples were single family homes, which are really desirable, and on the mountain close to skiing. It had, it clicked all the buttons.
Right.
And that's why they could have such big returns, because the one that sold just 2 years, that was a 24% increase in value. And the other one was, that was 100% increase over 6 years.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Michael, I know you've got some healthy numbers in Vail and Beaver Creek.
Yeah. Our long-term averages echo very close to what Breck is at. And I looked back just over the last couple of years, depending on which neighborhood you're in and whether you're multifamily or single family, you're looking at about 4.5% to 6% in the last 2 years. And interestingly, I think we're going to see 2020 have a larger number than that, just based on the activity we've got right now. But I've got two examples, and I chose some. I mean, we've got the homes that are 5, 10, 20, 40 million.
Right.
But I took two that might be a little bit more representative of the masses and affordability. So we had one client who purchased 2 years ago, almost to the day, for $775,000. They didn't put a single dollar into the home. They changed out the furniture, and that's it. There was no remodel, and we just put it under contract for $850,000. So $75,000 gain in 2 years by doing nothing, and they used it a ton. And that was the second homeowner out of Denver. I've got another one, and that one was up in Vail itself. This other one is in Edwards, just down the block from me, and this was an investor that bought for $620,000 in the latest part of 2018, and they sold about a month and a half ago for an $80,000 profit. So in a year and a half, it was an $80,000 profit. And I think the other aspect that people don't always think about when they compare it to the stock market that you mentioned, Jeanette, is that investor that bought for 620, they put 20% down. So they put $120,000 down payment. They did rent it out, covered 100%, got a return on their money for a year and a half, sold it for $80,000. So their return is $80,000 on a $120,000 investment. They made 65% plus return on their money.
Right. That's a very good point, because something I always try to share with my clients is the appreciation is working on the purchase price. Let's just say you purchased $1 million, but you used $200,000 for your down payment. Your 7%, your 4.5% is working off of that million, not the 200. I mean, I don't know where else you can do that. So
Yeah.
it's smart on so many different levels. Now, I want to be mindful of the time, because I want to get to your properties, but I do want to quickly talk about the market. I call it the market of the moment, because things are different this year, right? Things have been very different in lots of ways. But what are you seeing in your respective markets, maybe that is unique, that you don't see year after year? You're seeing a lot more purchasers, a lot more things going on sale. Are you seeing multiple offers? I mean, tell us just quickly in each of your areas.
We're seeing
Go ahead,
multiple offers, and mostly drive-to destination, which you guys from Texas, like for me, a 20-minute drive is down the road. For you guys, it's 4 to 6 hours. It's just down the road. So you're still a drivable market to Dawn or Jennifer or myself, but it's more of our drive-to traffic. We're not getting as many people flying in.
Right.
and the market's on fire. I mean,
Yes.
it is
On fire.
multiple offers, short days on market. We have 400 pending and 600 active listings.
There's been a mass exodus of some of these cities. I had a Houston client call me today. He goes, how's your bubble? Because we're in this little bubble here where, you know, we don't have the troubles of the cities. And he told me, he said, you know what, his house is on the market. He goes, you know what, I'm thinking about taking it off the market and moving there. And so we're seeing a lot of that. People who can work from home are like, well, let's come here. The kids that are, you know, online, they're coming here. So people are wanting this lifestyle. They're wanting to get away from the cities and come into these little mountain towns.
And I think people are not wanting to wait any longer. Like it
No,
might be something they
exactly.
had on their goal list for years and years.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
people are getting very comfortable working from home, children maybe
Yeah.
online, and people are being effective at doing this, and employers are seeing that. And so why not start living this life that you've envisioned for yourself? You know, why wait? I just think the second home market it's going to be more than a vacation spot. It's going to be a way of life, and the ability with the, you know, in the right places with the appreciation, the ability to monetize and cover your holding costs makes it part of your financial portfolio overall. So, okay, we're going to get onto your properties because I want to give you all time enough to share with us. So we're going to go to each person, and let's see, we are starting with Michael. And so as you go to each property, just kind of give us the highlights. We're going to spend about 5 minutes on each one of you. So spread that out appropriately before we wrap up. So tell us what we're looking at, Michael.
So you're looking at a ranch style home up in the Red Sky Ranch community. So it's a golf community that's about 25 minutes from Vail. This is one of the smaller homes in the community at 3,900 square feet, built in 2012 and has 4 bedrooms. One of those is really set up as an office. So this is one for the person who loves summer. They appreciate that the ski areas are here, and yet they're coming to Colorado and they want to enjoy the summer. You can hike from it, golf from it, bike, easy access to the rivers.
Beautiful. And so this is 1.95.
Yep, 1.95 million, yes.
Perfect. Okay. And what else do you have for us?
And then the next one should be, let's see if there it is. This one's a townhome in Vail. It actually sits on the Gore Creek, backs up to it. I don't think it's technically in the gold medal water, but we're close. Maybe we're silver. I don't know. It's a 1,300 square foot, 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom on 2 stories. And so this one, this is your person who really wants to be in Vail for the skiing. They're close enough. The free in-town bus is outside their door. They're not in the village. If this home was in the village, we would just add a 1 to the front of it. We don't have to add a 0 to the back, but we'd add a 1 to the front. So it's your attainable second home for many of our population out there that's looking for a second home.
Now, something like this, I don't know if you know the answer to this off the top of your head, but something like this, what would that rent out for a week, the highest of seasons?
For a week, I'm not sure. For a year, you would probably be looking at a gross rental income annually of about $35,000 to $40,000, with 70% of that income coming from the winter. The fact that it sits on the creek and has a hot tub and swimming pool as an amenity to the townhome complex, you're going to get a little bit more rental in the summer than you would somebody that's further out just in the streets or the hills.
What is your tax rate there?
We're at about 0.4%.
Okay.
So on this property, you'd be spending $3,000 a year in property taxes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of upkeep, cover your taxes, and then you have.
Yeah, on this one, you're probably looking at closer to that 3.5% to 4% return on investment. So, and that's just your cash return. That's not appreciation or tax benefit or, yeah, it's just the cash flow at the end of the year.
Nice. That's very attractive and I think affordable. Thank you so much for sharing those. Okay, Jennifer,
Yeah.
what are we looking at?
Oh, so I love this place. So this is right in downtown Breckenridge. It's in the historic area, so it's very quaint, pretty, and just a special little spot. It's 2 blocks from Main Street, Breckenridge, so you can walk to everything you want. There's a shuttle to the slopes, or you could walk, 4 blocks to get to the lift. It just has access to everything. And, the 2-bed, 2-bath layout is a very popular choice here in Breckenridge. That's probably what we see rented the most, is a 2-bed, 2-bath property. So with its easy access to town, there's actually trails. You can just walk and go hike on a trail. There's everything right at your fingertips with this one.
Beautiful. 1.2. Okay. Do you know what this might rent
You know
out?
what? I was thinking about that. I didn't do numbers for these, but this one I would think would be at about the 45, 50, depending upon the owner usage, obviously. But yeah, this one would be rented a lot in both the summer and the winter. And like Michael said, the price point obviously in the winter is higher for rentals.
And for somebody who's doing this, they would have, let's just say like a property manager, someone to kind of,
Correct.
what is that fee structure like?
So it's usually between 30 and 35%. We do have property management companies with variable prices. So for instance, you could sign up with one of the property management companies who come in just to clean, make sure everything's set, and that's it. And so you're spending a lot less. If you want them to handle everything, the check-in and all that good stuff, and you're gonna spend a little more.
Sure.
But you have different options.
Okay, excellent. And what about your second property?
Okay, this one is actually in Keystone. I love this property because it is ski in, ski out. Now, you can't ski to the door, but this is right on at the base of the mountain. So you look outside and all you see are ski slopes. I mean, it's all slope view. And once again, with the 2-bed, 2-bath, this rents a ton, would probably bring in about the same as the last one. Maybe like 35,000 gross, and is just in the perfect location for everything Keystone.
625.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that you're sharing with us properties that are easily
Yes.
reachable. I think sometimes people feel that second homes are for the uber wealthy.
Correct.
And that doesn't have to be the case, particularly when you can rent these out and cover expenses.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. And
that's
Keystone is very popular amongst investors as well.
okay.
The price point is a little bit lower than Breckenridge, so it makes it more attainable for an investor who maybe doesn't have unlimited funds.
Okay, perfect. I love that one. Okay, and Dawn, let me see what we can buy in Crested Butte. Oh, this is
Okay.
gorgeous.
So I put this one in there because we have a lot of homes that have 35 acres and they're not that far away from town or the ski resort. So that's why I wanted to put this on there. This is 35 acres. It has a main house that has 3 bedrooms and a bunk room. And then it has a barn that also has a really cute apartment above it. That's 2 bedrooms.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we have a lot of space around Crested Butte and a lot of opportunities to own 35 acres and your home. We're a big horse community. So if you love horses, we definitely have spots here for you.
Well, 35 acres. So we would call that, in Texas, we would call that a gentleman's ranch.
I like that term.
Okay, and then 5 beds, 4 baths. Wow, that's a big property. Big property. Does something like that rent out? I mean, do people come in wanting, That would be maybe,
It's not going to be a high rental spot.
okay.
It's a little bit further out. And so it can rent. This owner does not rent it, but it can rent, but it's not going to be a huge rental income producing property. This one that I'm showing you right now is a huge rental income property. This is the one that I said you can get $120,000 a year rental income. So it's amazing. So what they did is they took a house, they completely gutted it. They did 3 master suites, and a bunk room is in the main house. And then there's a accessory dwelling, which is a small house in the back that they have to long-term rent. But the reason this one rents so well, one, it's adorable inside, but it's on Elk Avenue, which is our main street. So it's at the end, so it's still really quiet, but you can walk everywhere. You know, the bus is a block away to take you up to the resort. All the restaurants are all down Elk Ave, so you're 2 blocks and you can eat at any of the restaurants, or 3 blocks. You can come here, you don't need to use your car. Walk everywhere, take the bus to go to the mountain. Super cute. It's just fun in-town living.
Yeah, that was one of the questions that I had noted, and didn't have time to ask you it since you brought it up. In a few cities that I've been in Colorado, there is great transportation, so you don't need to rent a car. You need to get there, of course, but
Right.
buses, there's Ubers. I mean, it's or you stay someplace where it's walkable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And each one of these locations has easy access and transportation, or sorry, not necessarily access, easy transportation from the airports. There's shuttles, there's limos, there's Suburbans
So from the airports.
from the airports.
Okay.
But you don't need to rent a car. If you don't want to drive in the mountains, you don't have to rent a car at all. You can fly into Denver and you'd be in Vail 2 hours later, or fly into Eagle, which has direct flights from Houston and Dallas, and be there 35 minutes later. Breck's a little closer to Denver.
And a lot of Texans just drive.
Or you can hop
Many.
in your own Suburban and drive right on up.
It takes
Yeah.
us 3/4 of the time just to get out of Texas, but once we do, it's pretty
And
smooth sailing.
We'll teach you how to deal with the roundabouts.
Yes.
Yes, which you have right outside of your office, Michael.
I do.
Right.
It was built one.
Well, thank you. We're running out of time. Thank you so much for providing some really tangible information to help people get started. Obviously, there's so much more to know. The devil's in the details, but each one of your beautiful cities provides something for everybody, it sounds like. And I think that's incredibly important. Secondly, it provides good appreciation. So we all want to be smart about the money that we're working hard for. And if you choose the ability to monetize even further and rent those out, winter or spring, and a nice a lifestyle throughout the year. So it's not just that you don't have to wear your skis and your snowsuits everywhere you go. And the last time I was in Colorado, we hiked, and it was springtime, and it was it's a tough call. Which time of year is better? Because I thought equally all beautiful. So for those of you that are watching, please share what you learned today, because I think it's so incredibly important to be able to put into reality this dream of having a place. I think, Michael, you said, where you make memories, and that really is what life is all about, right? Finding a place that you can share with your family and your friends and create memories. It truly is attainable. And so for those of you interested in making a purchase in Colorado, we will put the contact information for Don and Michael and Jennifer. Please reach out to them and just start digging and learning a little bit more. If you are the buyer viewing this, they can help you. And if you're the agent, take on the added kind of responsibility of learning and being able to bring back to your clients this idea of having this second home or vacation home for your clients to really kind of live a more experiential life that they desire. Everybody is wanting this. So thank you so much, Michael and Dawn and Jennifer, representing Crested Butte, Breckenridge, and Vail and Beaver Creek. Thank you so much for sharing your information today. It's 100 degrees in Austin, Texas, so I am ready for some beautiful Colorado weather. I don't know about everyone else, But I would love to hop on a plane and see you, any one of you.
Welcome.
I'm going to have to plan that. Now, next month, we are going to be in the islands of Hawaii.
Ooh,
Yes, join us. Grab your hula skirts,
yes.
suntan lotion, and we might do it a little bit later in the day so we can, sometimes people request being able to have a cocktail while they're dreaming about these vacations. So we might be able to accommodate that. So please be on the lookout for that date and time and join us. Send us your questions so that we can help you. There, we have offices all over the U.S., 850 plus offices in the Keller Williams family and in countries all over the world. So if you have a dream, we can make sure that it happens. So until then, take care. I'm from Austin, Texas. This is Jeanette Spinelli with the Spinelli Residential Group. So make it a powerful day. Stay healthy. And above all else, be kind. Talk to you all soon.